Good morning, guys. I'm about to go out and do some chores in the garden, and I wanted to do a video today on how to protect your plants from a cold front coming through or like a frost, because we are having a really random late frost this year. So last year I already had all of my squash planted out in the garden and it was doing really good in the garden, and this year there's a frost coming through and I'm gonna have to bring them all in tonight and cover up my plants that are already outside in the garden so they don't get damaged. So I just wanted to show you guys how I'm doing that today in case you guys are new gardeners and are freaking out about a frost coming through or whatever. I just want to show you guys what I do. I'm going to give you tips on some things that can stay outside and some things that you should definitely bring in as well. So let's go on and get into it. Okay, so like I said, it is going to drop down to like 29 degrees tonight, and I need to cover up some of my plants that are outside. What are you doing? So I will show you guys how I'm going to do it. Aww. If you don't have a frost blanket, then you can just use a regular old fitted sheet or blanket or whatever you have. I'm using this sheet, and you want to make sure that the sheet is not touching any of your plant's leaves, because that actually will damage the plants worse than not putting anything on them at all. So these are my potato bins, which is what I'm going to be covering. These are my carrots. They will be perfectly fine. They actually prefer colder weather. These are some onions, which also prefer colder weather. And then I have some calendula and a rosemary plant, and then I have a lavender right here, and they will be fine in a frost, as well as some sage and some more calendula will be fine in the frost. And then down here I just have some kale and spinach, which are cold hardy plants as well, so you don't need to worry about any of that. We have some lettuces, which are cold hardy. Strawberries are cold hardy, but the blooms are the things you need to worry about with these. The blooms can get damaged in a frost, and then you won't have a strawberry where these blooms are, which I have quite a few strawberry blooms. Which I don't know if I'm going to cover them or not, but I'm really hoping that they will survive. If they're already forming berries, you don't have to worry about it, because they will survive. The blooms are the only things that you have to worry about. Okay, so I moved my potato bins closer together, and then I just put these little bamboo stakes in the ground all around it. And I'm going to throw the sheet over those and weigh the sheet down. Okay guys, so this is the final result. I just have it weighed down with some bricks all around it, and the sheet is not touching any of the leaves on the plant. You want to make sure that it's not touching any of the leaves. So things like herbs can also stay outside because they are more cold hardy. Things like tomatoes, peppers, melons, squash, those all need to come inside because they will die if they get frost on them. So you want to make sure that you take those things.
That's an oval. That's an oval.
That's an oval? Who's that on the camera? Who's that pretty girl? Are you my pretty girl? Bye.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Is it oval?
An oval? Where do you see an oval? Your face is all dirty. Oh, your face is all dirty. Okay, so this is all the stuff that I am taking inside tonight. We have my zucchini squashes, a ton of tomatoes. Over here we have a few peppers, some more peppers. I have a habanero and some jalapeno. Then we have my yellow squash, which haven't popped up yet, but I know they're getting ready to, so I don't want to risk that. I have a couple of watermelons. I have some cayenne peppers and bell peppers, which haven't sprouted yet, but Again, I don't want to risk stunting their growth even though they haven't sprouted. And this whole thing and this whole thing are tomatoes. Okay, so these are some of the things that I'm leaving in the greenhouse overnight. We have my sunflowers up here because I read that they can withstand a little bit of cold temperatures, and I've already left them out in one frost before and they were fine. And then I have herbs like oregano, parsley, basil, cilantro, and such down here with some spinach and kale and lettuce and onions. And the same down here, just some onions, lettuce, and a bunch of herbs and things that are going to be fine in the frost out in the greenhouse. And yeah, that's all the stuff I'm bringing in. And I'm also going to bring this sunflower in because his leaves are like touching the top of the plastic, and I don't want the top leaves to get damaged because they're going to be like pressed up against the plastic on the greenhouse because he's so tall. So I'm just going to take this one sunflower inside. This is lettuce, spinach, and kale in here. That should be fine, as well as my herb tower over here should be fine, and then my berries along here will be fine as well. So that is just what I do when there is a frost coming through to protect my plants. I put a sheet or a frost blanket or something to cover them, or I take the things inside that aren't frost tolerant. And yeah, so also things like Brussels sprouts. I don't know what else. You guys can like Google it, and there should be a list of things that will survive a frost if you aren't 100% sure. I'm just showing you the things that I have in my garden that I know will survive a frost.